Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about guttation in primarily Monstera because they're the plant that people ask me about the most, but a lot of different types of plants do this. So guttation is when you see a little drip. Now obviously my Adansonii isn't gutating at the moment because that would be way too convenient. But basically, sometimes you'll get like a little water droplet at the end of the leaf. People want to know what it is. To start with, there is not guttation is perfectly natural. It's not a sign that there's something wrong at all. You may not even notice, but your plant will probably be doing it. It's usually the day after you've watered it. If you ever brush past a plant and you get wet, that's probably what it is. It's not the same as dew. So dew is water in the atmosphere settling on plants, but guttation is when the water, the plant is producing it. It's not just sat on it, it's produced it. It's not pure water, it is it xylem sap or something? So it's water with a bit of crap in it. A bit of, plant. I'm trying not to use the word excrement. It's just got a bit of, a few waste nutrients in it, that sort of thing. So don't don't lick it. Not that I thought you would, but you never know. So yeah, whilst it's nothing to worry about, if you notice excessive guttation, it can be a sign that you're overwatering. But bear in mind, some plants guttate a hell of a lot. I have a Syngonium in Leca that gutates loads. And that so I also have my Thai constellation in fully hydrated in water completely, and she also gutates. So it would seem that plants just aren't that good at knowing exactly how much water they need, so they tend to take up too much. So what happens is the plant takes up water, it discovers it has too much water, and the pressure builds up in the leaf and the water is forced out through the tip of the leaf. So that is where it comes from. As I say, it can happen to most types of plants, but aroids tend to be most likely to do it. So alocasia, they're really bad for it. Monstera do it a lot. And Monstera just tend to do it as a matter of course. It's really common for them to do it. Alocasia, if you notice a lot of guttation, I would check your watering. You will notice a lot the day after you water, but if you notice it past that, I would really just keep an eye on it, because alocasia aren't the best at subpar care. They will throw a hissy fit and drop their leaves. They won't necessarily die, but they will drop all their leaves. They're waiting for an excuse to do that. So yeah, I keep looking at my plants, see if any of them are gutating so I can show you what it looks like, but it's not happening. So whilst guttation is, as I say, perfectly natural and you should expect to see it, it's not a problem, it is just a process that plants go through. If you notice it a lot, just make sure that you're not overwatering. And if your plant is still gutating, don't water it, because it's already trying to get rid of too much water. You adding more is only going to be a problem for it. So yeah, don't do that. So plants taking on too much water is an issue that they have quite often. I don't know if this happens in the wild. I'm guessing they guttate in the wild. I'm not so sure about edema. Edema is also something that happens when plants take in too much water, and it's most common in fiddle-leaf figs. I say it's most common. It's common in plenty of plants, but in fiddle-leaf figs, it's almost, you're unlikely to not have edema. They're so prone to it. And another plant is Schefflera, and I'm going to go and get mine so I can show you what it looks like. So the other day I actually wrote a Schefflera care guide. I love these plants. They're so easy to care for. They're just so chill, but they do get edema. This one's got a new leaf coming. If I can just, where are you? There. He leaves in the way. You can just see him. Looks like a tiny claw, just there. It's not clear at all. There he is. Right, that's a new leaf. He looks like a tiny claw, and he'll just grow and grow until he looks like this. But somewhere along the way, he will take up, look at the roots as well. There's roots crawling up. The whole of the top looks like little worms. I have no idea if you can see that. Probably not. It's like little roots poking out everywhere. And here. Do you know this? It's too leafy. It's too leafy, and he's so dusty. Yeah, so guttation happens when the plant takes up too much water, but also so does edema. But whilst guttation forces the water out of the end of the leaf, edema just basically bursts the cell. So you get these little marks. If you can just see, there's like little spots on the backs, and that is edema. It looks okay. You can't actually see it on the tops of the leaves, you can only see it on the bottom, so it doesn't really matter. On fiddly fig it is more obvious, but it's also quite a pretty red colour. So they say it's caused by incongruent watering. So basically you're not watering when the plant needs watering, but so many different things affect when a plant needs watering that it's so hard to get it spot on, and you'd end up driving yourself mad trying to work out the perfect time to water. Don't worry too much about this. You just sort of have to accept that some of the leaves will look spotty. I think all of mine are pretty much, yeah. And whilst guttation doesn't leave a mark, edema does, but they are both a sign that your plant is having issues with water, but it's not necessarily something you can do something about without driving yourself mad or employing some sort of high-tech moisture meter. And even then, like, it's not hurting the plant. I mean, it's not great because it's bursting the cells, but the plant is still growing. He's still growing really happily. It just looks a bit weird if I look at him from underneath. I'm like, oh, he's got black spots. But apart from that, it doesn't really matter. I am obsessed with this plant, by the way. Like, she's doing so well. Since I moved her into a window, you can see how much, like, the internodal spacing here is massive. There's like a good couple of centimetres, like an inch between each node. And then up here is basically like just like leaf, because she likes the light. I do have to keep tilting her though. And she has seemed to have, she's not on here now, but she does seem to have a spider friend that keeps her dust free. Which, as pest care goes, like, having a spider to eat any bugs is like the best for me, because it means I don't have to do anything. The only issue is she gets really dusty. Might have to stick her in the shower actually. So yeah, you don't need to worry about guttation or edema unless it's just a sign that there is an issue with watering. So keep an eye on it, don't overwater, don't water when the soil is still wet, but don't panic about it. You can't control how your plant is taking up water. I mean, it can be everything from the humidity to the temperatures to the time of year to whether or not your plant is growing a new leaf, to what stage it is while it's growing the new leaf, whether a leaf is dying, whether roots are growing, whether roots are dying. You can't keep track of everything that affects how much water your plant is taking up. And even when your plant is taking up water, it doesn't always know how much it needs, hence it has an escape route, but sometimes it doesn't, so it bursts the cells. I'm trying to think if I've got plants that have both edema and guttation. I seem to think fiddly figs guttate, but I don't have one. Mine died and I resurrected it, and then it died again and I didn't bother because I find it a very stressful plant. Might get another one though. I do like them. When it comes to Monstera, definitely don't sweat guttation if you're pretty sure your watering's alright, because they are just big on it. Alocasia's also big on it, but as I said, really keep an eye on your watering because they are more likely to be doing it as a sign that they're being overwatered, and they really don't like being overwatered, whereas Monstera will take the odd bit of, they're just hardier and less likely to have a massive hissy fit and die. Right, so that's all I've got to say on guttation. I'm sure there's more sciencey things I could say, but we only need the basic information. We only need to know that it's not a problem, but keep an eye on your watering. So yeah. I was just going to do a little brief update on my avocado tree that I cut I don't know when I did it, months ago. Anyway, it was really tall and leggy. And so what's happened is this one seems to have died. I don't know what caused that. It was fine before, but this used to be attached to this, and I chopped it off and nothing's happened, so I've got no root growth. This is just a stick, but I'm not going to chuck it until it starts to rot, because you never know with plants when they're going to decide to start putting roots out. But this, I'm going to cut this off. doesn't want to. There we go. I think I can see a bit of green, so it may not be the end. I think there's still roots in there, so even if this, hang on, even if this stick doesn't grow from here, it may well shoot a pup out. I don't really know how they grow with regards to that, so we shall see. But this is where I chopped this. So this used to stick on here. And he's put out 2 little shoots and they're growing really well. He's a bit dry actually. I'm probably covered in, oh yeah, he's covered in beetles. Don't move on to any of my other plants, please. I'm gonna put him there. But yeah, he was really like so basically he was really, really tall. So he could only go in one of my windowsills in my kitchen. It was the only windowsill with enough space above it that it'd fit. So he had to go there, but it was above a radiator, so he dried out. So, and he goes outside in summer, so he's used to having more light and not being above a radiator. So he dropped nearly all his leaves, which, you know, I understand. It wasn't the ideal situation. So I chopped him back, like cut him back loads, and he's done really, really well. I'm proud of him. And I'm hoping that he is small enough that I can put him in a better position than he was in last year, so we don't have to go through it all again. But even if I do end up going through the cycle of him losing all his leaves in winter and then coming back in summer, he always comes back better than he did the previous year. So whilst it is a slow growth process, I do feel like we're moving forwards. And my other update is not a plant yet, but this is a piece of ginger that I bought from Sainsbury's with I was probably on some sort of health kick. Why was I can't remember why it was ginger. So I've had long COVID for, God, I think nearly a year now, and it's horrible. I've not had it really badly, but I can't run. I did yoga yesterday for like the 2nd time this year. I think I did a yoga with Adrian video on New Year's Day, and it just completely knocked it out of me, which is hilarious because I know yoga is a workout, but it's not like a full-on cardio workout. The one I did wasn't anyway. But I did a yoga yesterday and God, it floored me again. It's ridiculous. I'm not like an ill person, but this has just been ugh. So and I must have read at some point that ginger was good for you, and it is. So I was eating a lot of ginger. But then, as always happens to me with food, I will go through a phase of eating something all the time and then just completely forget about it. So I had this piece of ginger in my cupboard and it's rooted. Look, it's got it's got a big root here, and then it's got a little nub there, and then another little nub here. So I have got it in a little pot with some leca, and I'm just going to lay it on top because this grew in a cupboard, like a food cupboard with no water or anything, and it's been in there months. I definitely bought it this year, but I'm sure it would have been like February when I bought it. I'm not sure, but it's old. So yeah, I've read somewhere that you have to get a certain kind of ginger so it will root. But I'm sure I wouldn't have bought organic ginger. That's not me at all. So I think I was maybe just lucky. Or maybe all ginger does do this and I was given incorrect information. But yeah, it does take its time. But I'm excited to have a ginger plant if I can make it grow more than it is. So we shall see. I'm very excited about my little free plant. If anybody has grown a ginger from a ginger root, please let me know how it goes or what to do with it. I'm really hoping it's one of the big green and yellow striped leaf ones. I don't even know if it'll grow leaves. I don't know if it's like, if I'm just completely and it's not going to grow, please tell me. I'd rather know now, even though that won't stop me from trying to grow it because I'm an idiot. If anybody has information on from what I gather, it is possible to grow all plants in semi-hydro, but you need to do certain things. So if somebody has information about growing a ginger in leca, let me know. I would grow it in soil, but I'm trying to move away from soil because I find it easier to water leca. And I'm lazy, and repotting is so much easier and less dirty. So yeah, there we go. Right, I'm going to end this video here because I've not really got anything else to say. So yeah, ginger tips below, please. Never said that before. And if you've got any questions about guttation that I can either answer or Google for you, please leave them below. I will see you next week. Thank you for watching. Bye.